Greetings, everyone. My name is Jonathan Bailey, and I'm from the website Plagiarism Today, which can be found at plagiarismtoday.com. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope your week has been a happy and productive one. As you know, I've been out most of this weekend, pretty much all of last, due to Hurricane Isaac, and so that's kind of put me in a bind. This is my first one back talking about copyright news, and I really don't know what I want to do with it. Because there's no way in hell I can get caught up with everything I missed. I mean, I've gone through, I did the show notes, in fact, I did the podcast yesterday, and there's just way too much. In addition to, the Pirate Bay arrest, the mega upload announcement, sites being closed in the UK, Roja Directed getting their domains back. There's all this stuff that's been going on. Too much to fit into one episode. No way I can go through it. So I kind of wanted to talk about, the ruling theme of the week while I was gone. And that theme, it seemed to me, was copyright bots. Specifically, there were two instances that happened days apart from one another. The first one was a clear-cut case of a copyright bot gone AWOL, or gone, I should say, using excessive force, perhaps what we should say. The Hugo Awards, big science fiction awards, were being live streamed on Ustream. But they were being streamed on Ustream. And during a speech by Neil Gaiman, in which he was accepting an award for a Doctor Who episode he wrote, he was showing clips of Doctor Who, and those clips triggered Ustream's copyright bot and caused the entire thing to go kablooey. So basically what happened there is the stream went down, and after it went down, they were unable to restore it in time for the broadcast to end. The second one happened a few days later. It was the DNC, and this one's a little bit less clear what actually happened, because the live stream itself of the Democratic National Convention was not in any way impacted. What happened is, after the stream was done, it sort of kicked over to a recorded mode, and instead of watching the playback, you got this weird copyright notice where it seemed like everyone under the sun had filed or had content in the work. And it's unclear with this one, because the video has been marked as private and taken offline, but it's no longer displaying that copyright message. And I find that a little peculiar, because YouTube, especially in these high-profile cases, is pretty good about correcting these mistakes. You might argue with the average YouTuber, they don't get much love here, but usually if it's a pretty high-profile screw-up, YouTube makes it right. And they both the DNC and YouTube called this a glitch, saying an incorrect error was shown, but they didn't actually say that it was basically that it was a problem with the copyright bot. What I suspect may have happened, and this is just a hypothesis based upon the evidence I have, is that the actual stream itself was not supposed to be made available as a recorded version after it was done. Basically, it was supposed to be made private and put away and taken and hidden. But the copyright algorithm got a hold of it first and locked it down and displayed the error message before it could be marked as private. Just a humble thought there. I'm not sure if it's actually what happened, but it's at least a hypothesis. And it's one that makes it so that the copyright bot wasn't quite as outrageous and wasn't quite as harmful. And because, like I said, in this case, the actual live stream was pulled off, but the Ustream one, clear-cut case of a copyright bot that went way too far. And I've been watching and listening to a lot of the dialogue surrounding this, and people have been going out of their way to blame copyright law for this, and I find that pretty amusing. Because nowhere in copyright law here in the United States are these types of bots required. The DMCA does require hosts of content like YouTube and Ustream to pull content down when notified, but the use of these copyright bots are totally optional. They don't have to do it. They do it for, the best I can tell, 3 reasons. The first reason is simply to save time. They receive a lot of DMCA notices. It's just faster, lowers manpower, and saves time, money, and energy to have these bots do the work automatically. 2, they're trying to form relationships with content providers, and this is a way to show good faith, and something that these content providers often demand or request as part of any agreement. And the third reason is community. They want to have a community built around original content, and so they go out of their way to make sure that copyright infringing or illegal content is not making it on the service. So they want to have a good community. And YouTube has really thrived in a lot of ways on original content, I think in large part because of their efforts of keeping infringing content off of it. Yes, there is still infringing content, but it's not nearly as plentiful as it was in the early days of the site. And you can make the argument that YouTube grew because of the infringing content, but really it only became sort of this mainstream everyday site where you can watch Ustream specific shows and channels, things like Crash Course World History, I might add, which is an awesome show. It only became that after they started addressing that illegal content issue. It sort of thrived as its own medium because of that. And so yeah, I mean that wasn't directly the copyright box doing that. It was YouTube being bought by Google and then making a push for copyright legitimacy. Copyright bots that came along a little later, but it's all part of the bigger game there. So what I'm trying to say though is, don't blame the law for the bots. Blame the people who are using them, and specifically blame how they're being used. I mean, and one thing Patrick talked about in the podcast yesterday, a really great point, is yeah, we've had two really unfortunate, really bad takedowns in the past few days. How many legitimate ones happened in that exact same time? How many illegal streams on YouTube, how many illegal videos on YouTube were removed in that time? It's probably, you know, in the nearing the many thousands, possibly I would suspect even millions, depending upon how active these sites are. You're dealing with a lot of content that's being removed legitimately, versus a couple of mistakes. And mistakes are going to happen. They should be minimized. And I do hope that Ustream and YouTube do better. In fact, I heard Ustream took this product offline so they can hone it. Great idea. Address this mistake. Fix the problem. I agree completely. But beating up on the bots excessively and using the bots to beat up on the law just doesn't make sense. Let's try to focus on the problem here. Let's try to focus on what's going on. And the problem is that these bots went AWOL. They did something they shouldn't have done. Let's not, start passing around blame. Let's start looking for solutions. And that's what I would like to see done here. More solutions, fewer problems. Just my thoughts on the matter. Anyways, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for joining me. And until tomorrow, this is Jonathan Bailey, signing off.